What's going on? Welcome to another episode of Hobby Talk. I'm your host, Dr. Collectible. And this week I had two very important individuals that I got a chance to speak with this week. And they go by the name of Matt and Kenneth. Um, these two individuals, they laid down everything when it came to Pristine auction and as well CGC. Um, we were going to learn a lot this week, and I must say, when we're talking about everything collectibles, this episode was about that. You definitely want to tune in, and as well, I think you're going to learn a lot from this episode. But before we get to it, make sure you utilize the code Hobby Talk to get $10 off your first purchase today. All right, y'all, let's get to this interview. What's going on, everybody? It's your boy, Dr. Collectible here, and you tuned in to another episode of Hobby Talk. Shout out to Pristine Auction and what they do for the hobby. And I am sitting here today with two individuals. First of all, big shout out to Matt and Kenneth. Thank you for hopping in and being able to talk to the audience about some very interesting things that we have in the hobby. First off, Matt is the director of pop culture at Pristine, and as well, Kenneth, the director of grading of video games and home videos. Thank you for being on. Thank you.
How you doing?
Thank you for having us, man.
Thanks for having us.
Now, appreciate it. First off, I want y'all to be able to introduce yourselves a little bit and get into detail on what y'all do. Feel free, Matt, Kenneth, one of y'all can start and let the people know.
All right. I'll jump in first. My name is Matt Williams. I've been in the hobby for a really long time, over 15 years. The first thing I started collecting was actually VHS tapes, early 2000s, like 2001. It's what really got me into the nostalgia and addiction of collecting. And throughout the years, I've gotten into video games, movie posters, toys, just about everything. I don't really collect comics or sports cards, but I definitely see, why those markets are so big and established. And the last 3 years since VHS became, I guess you could say, a high-end hobby,
Mm-hmm.
I've kind of been there in the trenches, along with Kenneth and a few other, people really trying to push this thing and show people why it's important in the magic, of VHS. And
Yeah.
got in with Pristine. The owner, Jared, amazing guy, brought me on initially to do, run a VHS department and consignments, and then it just blossomed into, let's do all of pop culture, toys,
Right.
video games, comics, all that TCG. And I think, I thought that was a great idea because, being able to have all that up there with the VHS gives it a lot of crossover appeal, more eyes on it. Um,
Mm-hmm.
and yeah, that's really what I'm doing now. Just here to, try to get the education out as much as I can, along with Kenneth over there at CGC, and just really show why VHS is important and beta.
Thank you, Matt. Thank you. And Kenneth,
Yeah.
feel free to express what you do.
Yeah, yeah. So I'm the director of grading at CGC for the video game and home video platforms. So I'm a longtime media collector. So I collect movies, I collect games, I collect music. I really like collecting physical media. Been tracking it for a long time. I'm collecting a little over 20 years now. So kind of got serious with games around like 1999. So about that's about 25 years now, I'd say. Um,
Yeah.
but yeah, I'm the guy that likes to make a lot of lists and try to figure out, what came out first and, figure out all the codes and how to understand everything, what goes with what parts. Um, and basically use that with, grading all these, get to see everyone's collections come through my hands and keep all that information and kind of help out the community with, you know, what items go with what, whether it's a game or a movie, what box goes with what um, cartridge or which game or, which VHS tape goes with which box, which, releases came out. Just all the little details about the stuff and sharing that with the community is a lot of fun. collecting and putting it together and trying to figure out all the pieces to the puzzle, like, what's out there. So,
Nah, man, I love that. First off, even with my background, I've been utilizing Pristine Auction for a while now. I want to say it's been like close to I feel like 4 years. So I've been on the
Wow.
platform, and as well, CGC got a chance to visit the office in Sarasota, if I'm not mistaken.
yes, sir.
Yes, got to do a tour. Did a lot of content and got a chance to interview a few of the employees, the graders, as well, and knowing their insight on CGC and learning a lot more of what y'all do on the back end and how CGC now has became, for real. Like I say, I feel like it's just straight household name, especially when you're talking about the different markets in the hobby. The same way Pristine's been able to do the same thing um, with auctions as well. So y'all, I noticed that y'all have a big auction coming up. If I'm not mistaken, feel free to express that.
Yeah, so we have two big auctions coming up. So the one that starts on December 7th, which is Saturday, that's a CGC exclusive auction. So it's going to be all CGC graded items. And I was actually able to convince them to let me, put some good VHS and Betamax stuff in there. And a few of the pieces I got here, you mind if I show them real quick?
Yeah, feel
So I
free.
got a 9.4 A plus Beverly Hills Cop first
Oh,
print Betamax.
Eddie
This
Murphy.
has the back, yeah, this has the back Paramount watermarks. This is beta, a beta tape. And then we got, this is a more obscure tape, but it's one of my favorite Tom Cruise movies, All the Right Moves. And this is a
Classic.
first print, and it's got the back CBS Fox watermarks, and this is a 9.6 A plus plus. This is a super, super rare tape. Like I've seen like less than five of these sealed.
Wow.
Again, just great rare movie. You can never go wrong with anything Tom Cruise is in. This is one of my personal favorites, 9.4 A plus first print Beverly Hills Cop Part 2.
Hmm.
Just that cover is classic with Eddie Murphy standing by the Beverly Hills sign. This is a first print. And then the last one I'm going to show, this is my personal favorite, Nightmare on Elm Street Part 4, The Dream Master.
Oh, nice.
So
Ooh.
I love horror. I love Freddy Krueger. He's an icon, iconic franchise. This is a classic cover. Doc, I don't know if you remember being in the rental store as a kid and seeing like the Freddy movies and Jason and all that. And this is a first print, and it's a 9.4A. Super tough to find sealed. So those that I just showed are going to be in the December 7th CBC auction. And then we have a January 8th Pop Culture Elite, which is going to be all, pop culture items. I'm going to have VHS in there. I
Mm-hmm.
got about 60 AFA Masters of the Universe and Ninja Turtle toys coming in for that,
Nice.
along with some video games. But this is
Ooh.
going to be the highlight star piece of that auction on January 8th. So this is a First Blood Part 2 from 1986, and it got an
Wow.
insane 9.8 A plus. And honestly, man, like this is unheard of on a tape this old. Like this tape is as old as I am because I was born in '86.
Rambo.
Um, yeah, Rambo, and that's the thing, man. Like with VHS, like it just has everything going for it. It's like I told you before. It checks all the right boxes. I mean, this is Stallone. It's Rambo. Like top of the pop, and it's grade. This is the highest graded. Might be the highest one we see. And it's classic, man. It's got everything going for it. So this one is going to be in the January 8th Pop Elite at Pristine.
Hmm. I can only imagine the audience to be able to see that. Not only that, I feel like y'all are cultivating a audience. VHS, we all know up and down, the values. I'm still learning. Um, First VHS, I want to say person that I remember had to be Titanic. It was two tapes,
Yep.
if I'm not mistaken,
Yeah.
and
Yep.
I never seen nothing like that. I maybe if I'm not mistaken, I'm not sure if there was something like that before Titanic with the two tapes. But
Yeah.
seeing that as a kid and knowing like, okay, it's the first tape and then second tape, even though I probably wasn't supposed to be watching that movie like I was supposed to be, but at that time, I mean Leonardo DiCaprio, um, all time classic for me. I can watch that at any time. Now, Kenneth,
Yeah.
I want to get into a little bit about what you do on your end. You say you're into the home videos and as well the video games. when it comes to grading these items, what are certain things that y'all are looking for when it comes to like VHSs in particular? Because I'm still trying to understand, what could be considered first edition, I'm guessing,
Yeah,
or what considered, something that may have just first came out, first appearance. Like what creates rarity when it comes to VHS?
yeah, like some of those tapes Matt was showing. I mean, those may look like popular movies. They're considered common by some people, but when you get down to the little details of trying to find like the first print of these movies in sealed condition, so many of them just don't exist sealed anymore because these were big box office movies when they came out. um,
Yep.
Man, back in the early to mid, even into the late 80s, a lot of these tapes were $80 a piece, brand new. Some of them were a little bit cheaper at 50 or 30, but they were pretty steep price when they first came out. And
Yep.
a lot of people didn't have VCRs. Some people were even renting VCRs from the rental store. You know what I mean? Like, you wouldn't, just like you could rent a Nintendo or something like that, from Blockbuster. You might have to rent the VCR and the tape. So,
Yep.
not many of them, that were say $80, like that Rambo or something like that, were bought and then just left in the wrapper. I mean, you got to think, for adjusted for inflation, that's about $300 in today's money. So that's like buying a game system. You know what I mean? So, um, yeah, you just didn't see too many of them sit around and stay in the wrapper. So you might be able to find plenty of open copies, but some of these movies, I mean, um, like Matt mentioned, that Nightmare on Elm Street, like it's
Hmm.
one of my favorite franchises too. And there's some of those, like the first tape that I bought, that there's only like a single sealed copy known of the first print. So some of these, there's only a half dozen, a dozen. First print of like Back to the Future, there's probably just a handful, over a dozen known copies sealed. So um, getting into those watermarks and stuff that he showed on the back,
Yeah.
those change over the years with these different companies. So they'll have different designs and different styles of watermarks that change. So a lot of times, if you're grading like a high end copy and it's sealed, you have in video games and home video, you have the box grade and you have the seal grade. So kind of like how with a comic, you could have like it's a 9.8 and it has white pages. Those the
Hmm.
VHS, like he showed you, would be like a 9.8 with the A plus seal. So the box is a 9.8, and the seal could be an A plus, with A plus plus being like the highest, basically brand new seal. So yeah, like just the fact that nobody ever opened those tapes that he just showed is kind of crazy. You just don't find stuff like that. So there's very few out there still around, and it's neat when we see them, and let alone when you see them and they're in basically brand new condition. That 9.8 on that tape is crazy to see on something that probably has just a couple of fields. So
All right, so this week, pristine auction item is not actually an item. We are talking about the CGC auction that will be going down at Pristine Auction. Now, this auction consists of a lot of items, CGC, that's graded from sports cards, TCG, VHS, you name it. This auction will have it. You definitely want to tune in. You don't want to miss out on these precious items. And we all know CGC does a great job when it comes to grade. I mean, hey, you see, I got on the merch myself. But yeah, also, don't forget to utilize that code Hobby Talk to get $10 off your first purchase. And make sure you don't forget about that CGC auction that's going down on Pristine Auction. No, seriously, it even someone like my uncle and my father, movie guys, and me growing up, movies was just something that I had in my household, and it's crazy because I can tell you right now, I went through every VHS and opened everything up. There's nothing else sealed. So as a kid,
yeah,
as an adult, to be able to see something like that stand the tales of time to like now, is incredible. I have to ask personally, do y'all have any holy grails, or are y'all collecting anything right now that's into that, Coach? I have to ask, do y'all have anything that y'all sit there which y'all would consider a holy grail for y'all?
Uh, yeah, I mean, I have a couple. I didn't really pull them out. I pulled out. Well, I
Hmm.
guess this is probably one of mine. So this is an open box copy of Fright Night, and this is the
Oh
RCA. They
man,
call it a side loader, so it opens from the side. But this
right?
still has like the original, watermark with the watermark with the wrap and all that. Super rare tape. It's got the first print, like true first print tape in there. Um, Probably like a less than a handful of these sealed in existence. And honestly, man, I've seen maybe like one or two others CIB with the wrap like this, like true first print. So this would be probably one of my big pieces, along with probably first print Ghostbusters,
Mm-mm-mm.
back RCA watermark. I mean,
Wow,
this is
that's my
class. I mean, it's
childhood.
Ghostbusters. Yeah. And
Who
the
you
thing
gonna
with like
call?
movies like,
Ghostbusters. Oh, my bad,
yeah.
my bad, my bad, my
No, you're
bad.
good, man. You're good. It's all good. But yeah, man, like Ghostbusters is still they're still making Ghostbuster movies to this day. So the franchise is alive, and this being a first print, this is why, in my opinion, VHS is historically significant.
Mm.
Because of something like this. This is a movie that resonates with all of us. We all grew up with Ghostbusters. Movies like Ghostbusters, Goonies, Back to the Future, Raiders of the Lost Ark. People from all walks of life like those movies.
Yes.
Especially like something like a Goonies or Back to the Future. You could ask
Hmm.
anybody, man, and they will always say they like those movies. I never heard somebody say that they don't like, like a Ghostbusters or Goonies or something like that. So that's why I still push and believe in VHS because it's just got that power behind it. It just needs to be put out and presented to people in the proper way.
I agree. I agree. Do you have anything that you may have that, or if you even if you don't have it on, feel free to explain. I'm
Yeah,
definitely interested.
I mean, yeah, I have, like I said, from like 25 plus years of collecting, I'm just gonna guess that I probably have around 5,000 games.
Yep.
I probably have close to 2,000 like VHS tapes and music. Man, I probably have, I don't know, between albums and CDs and all that, another 2,000, items. So,
Wow.
personal favorites of mine is the I mentioned the Nightmare on Elm Street first print. As far as I
Hmm.
know, that's the only sealed one. It's the only one I've ever seen, and and then I have Super Mario Brothers for the NES. I have the highest graded first print of the game. Um, it's from the test market in 1985 in New York, before the NES was like launched nationwide. So um,
Wow.
that's a 9.6 overall. There's no sealed copies known of that game. So, um, but yeah, those are probably like my
For
two
real.
favorite items.
Yo, I am a video game guy. Um, I'm gonna be honest with you. I would say my first love had to be video games and movies and
Yeah.
comic books before I got into like the whole sports cards. Um, Me and sports cards as a kid, I probably was eating cereal and looking at the stats of my favorite players because I definitely wasn't watching ESPN. I was probably on the video game more than watching TV. So video game wise, I still have my Super Nintendo, Nintendo 64. Um, I got it all, man, from PlayStation, Xbox, you name it. And to Matt, recently, we were talking about Ghostbusters. I went to Universal Studios with
Mhm.
Rizzo Sports in California, whatnot. They had like four different shops, and they did a whole. It was like a mini haunted house
Like a pop up.
dedicated to Ghostbusters. Like,
Nice.
Wow.
and once again, that brought to that what we call, I guess, nostalgia.
Yeah,
Um,
Yep.
that
that's what
that
it's all
feel
about.
of being a kid all over again, right? So for me, it's like,
Absolutely.
yeah, for me, it's like being able to see these items. Not only that, CGC, which I do, grading wise, is incredible. I had to show y'all real quick the merchandise.
There you go.
I keep the hoodie on me. I got a CGC shirt. as well somewhere around here. I couldn't find it before getting on. I know, right?
Yeah.
And like I said, with Pristine, what y'all do, how y'all able to execute the market, very well. And not only that, I feel like y'all dedicate to the everyday buyer. That's the other
That's
thing
true.
where I feel like for most auction companies and things of that nature, and what y'all do at a different standpoint is that y'all make it happen 24 hours. I don't care, it can be up to 8 days, whatever it is. Y'all got
Yep.
something for everyone to be able to collect. So I want to ask y'all before we wrap this thing up. Usually I'm definitely interested in this, and when it comes to y'all being in the hobby, and let's say if there's someone new and they're trying to get into this thing and they're trying to figure it out. They're trying to even find their first love. They don't know if it's sports cars. They don't know if it's comic books. They don't know what it could be. For you, what advice would you
I
give an individual coming to the hobby and trying to figure this thing out
I
today? Wise,
my
today is crazy. Back in the day, you might been able to, figure yourself out. Collect one thing, stones, rocks.
Mhm.
But now, collecting is like anything can be nostalgia. So, what advice would y'all give to someone that's just coming in?
hold that shirt up again. That's my advice. And what does it say?
Yeah.
Love what you collect, baby. That's
Like
what
what you
I'm
love, yeah.
talking
That's
about. I
right.
like that advice.
No, for real. Like I collect some weird stuff. I collect like unlicensed video games that are really hard to find. They're not
Mm.
like the most expensive, but it's really challenging to find them, especially sealed. And I've been doing that for like 15 years, working on this small set that's just impossible to find. So, same thing with movies. There's certain movies that I, like, and whatever it is, music. It's not always about like he said, Back to the Future, and it doesn't have to be
Mhm.
something that someone else cares about. If you like it and you want to collect it, like what is, like you said earlier, what's nostalgic? You know what I mean? Like what's nostalgic to you may be different. Might be a TV show you watch. It might be something that you watch like with your dad or something like that. Like he was showing the Rambo. So
Yeah.
yeah, a lot of times Matt's got like the movie House on their auction. I was looking, and
Yeah.
I don't think that
Hmm.
goes for a fortune, but like I remember watching that with my dad and like renting it from the store back in the day and thinking it was a scary movie, and now you're like watching it. Yeah, it's kind of corny, but
Yeah.
right. But it's
Hmm.
nostalgic for me, so that's like that's the one I'm looking at. So
Appreciate that, Kim. And what
Absolutely.
about you, man? What advice would you give someone coming in?
Well, same thing, collect what you love. I mean, but there's different types of people that get into collecting. You have your investor type people, and then you got, people that just you're, brand new into any type of collecting. The first thing you want to do is, well, what I did when I first went in, I made a list of
Hmm.
like the top things I wanted, and then I educated myself, whether that was, researching online, but it
Mm.
was mainly just, getting on the, collecting forums, getting on, IG and Facebook and, you know, getting in there with the people that came before me and collecting and just really opening my mind up and, myself up to learning, and being willing to learn. And, that really took me a long way. Like, being humble and just always willing to, learn about knowledge and take knowledge in. That's the main thing is just staying and always being on top of things and being educated because you don't ever want to go buy the wrong thing for a lot of money and then find out later you bought like a later print of something. So it's just collect what you love and just stay educated and just
Mm.
get in there and just get out on social media and just network. Networking's important too. So that's what I'd say.
No, I love it. First of all, thanks for the advice for the many people that will be watching clips that will be on social media. I'm hoping someone is able to learn from this. I'm hoping someone able to find our identity. They might watch this video for the first time. This might be the first hobby content that they may come across. So for that, what y'all gave was very special and it hit home for me as well. because I am a VHS guy. I am a video game guy. I do collect sports cards, and I'm definitely excited for this auction that's coming up. CGC Pristine, what y'all doing together right now, and what y'all have to present to the hobby is incredible. And y'all, I really appreciate y'all being on as well and giving y'all testimony as collectors, but as well people that is investing into the hobby as well with your time and hard work, whether if it's front face or behind closed doors with companies such as Pristine and CGC. So once again, I appreciate y'all time. Are y'all personally on social media? Are y'all active on social media?
I mean, I have just like a basic Instagram. I think it's just kthrower82, but
Mm-hmm.
I'll post some stuff. Some stuff that comes across the desk and stuff like that. Some neat stuff here and there. So, um, but yeah,
All right,
I
no
think
problem, no problem. Now I appreciate that. And once again, let me see. Look like we may have lost Matt.
yeah, I think it was awesome.
Oh no, it's all good. If anything, it's all pre-recorded, so
Yep,
it's no problem. We can always edit out. But if anything, I'm probably gonna end it off with with an ending,
okay,
and it's probably gonna focus on me. So I just want to give you a heads up.
yep,
Once again, appreciate everyone jumping in. Appreciate Matt and as well Kenneth. The information that y'all gave across the board about so many different collectibles and so much in the hobby. Thank you, and make sure y'all tune in to Hobby Talk. It's your boy the Doc. I'm out. All right, everyone, that's it for this week episode. Appreciate Matt and Kenneth for jumping on and just expressing a lot about collectibles. I've learned a lot personally, and as well when it comes to like VHSs and digging more deep into like video games and more collectibles that are out there. We all know it's just not always about sports cards, but there's more to the hobby than just that. And I think they explained that very well. So Matt and Kenneth, thank you for hopping on. Utilize that code Hobby Talk to get that $10 off. Let's get it.